opposition entangled in wars against themselves, Babu Wino endorsing Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency 2027, days after Odinga announced that ODM would also field a candidate. But in a very interesting twist, why is the state buying DCP candidates that are supposed to participate in the by-elections coming in November? These are amongst some of the other stories we want to look into in this podcast. As we look in this podcast, analyze the Moi era tactic that William Ruto is employing on opposition, why we strongly believe it will not succeed. But before I delve much into this, I'm still saying thank you very much and reminding you that I am still in Egerton since last week on Wednesday. I have been here to support put up a decent house for Mary Nyambura. Mary Nyambura left Kenya to go and look for greener pastures to work in Saudi Arabia, but he found a toxic boss who threw her from the third floor of the building. She fell down and broke her spinal cord, and Mary came back in Kenya in a wheelchair. And the person who cannot walk, the mother of three, was disowned by husband, and through that, and because of that, she lacked support system, only depending on support from well-wishers. But of course, now, when this case was brought to us, her only wish was for her to have her own place so that she would not struggle with rent, because that is some of the problems that she's been facing, just to get a place to stay and live peacefully. And we took it upon ourselves as the Bold Foundation to put up a house for Mary. And I want to say thank you very much. We've made tremendous progress in that. What tunasema kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. I need to tell you, this is the project nimekaa sana, by the way. I've been here since last Wednesday, and I may actually leave Wednesday this week. Now, this is the way this is the place hii nyumba imefika. Leo, mafundi wamekoroga that linton, and as you know, ikikoroga inafaa iwachwe ikauke. So itakauka tomorrow on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we are going to put the roof. And I want to say thank you very much. I mobilized over the weekend for roof, and successfully, hatuwezi nunua tu mabati kwa sababu hakuna place tunaweza ziweka, but we'll buy them on Wednesday morning so that roof iwekwe on Wednesday. So that is sorted. So I told you the next time I'll come on camera, I will only looking for windows. Because iko na choo mbili, kuna choo ya bedroom ya Mary, and then kuna choo ya watoto, and then it has 3 rooms, which the 2 bedrooms, and also iko na kitchen ndani. So we have a total of 6 windows and 3 doors that we're looking for. Now that was coming to a budget around 52,000 to do the 3 doors ya bedroom ya mama, the main door, bedroom ya Mary, na bedroom ya watoto. So, but I want to say thank you, because I need to come clear. I need to explain this. My area MCA, Honorable Mercedes, has called and told me, Kevin, I'm giving you 1 window. Yes, so Mercedes, my MCA from Siaya, has supported this project. Ameniambia, Kevin, nitakupatia not window, 1 door. So that means my deficit is now 40,000, so that I can be able to buy the windows. I would just want that on Wednesday, wakati mafundi wanapiga roof, hata hizo dirisha ziwekwe, so that we'll only remain with the finishing part, which is the plaster, na to make sure we do also the floor. So that is the deficit I have. Please, even if you can offer some, Kevin, mimi nanunua hiyo dirisha, ama nanunua, even if you come around this place, we'll really appreciate. And I just want 2 or 3 or 5 or so people, if you can offer, so that tumalize hii, and I think we'll be grateful. Hii nyumba ilikuwa kubwa, guys. Sijaijenga kama hii. This is the biggest we've done this year. For those who have seen it, ukiona kwa video, hii nyumba ilikuwa kubwa, but it was very necessary because of Mary's situation. Mary bado ni mdogo, na watoto bado pia ni wadogo, so watoto watakaa kwa hii nyumba kwa muda mrefu. That's why we took it upon ourselves to do a little bit of a bigger house for her.
Njĩtagwo Mary Wanjirũ Nyambura. Ona first born yakwa etagwo Nyambura, nĩwe wĩtagwo Zieta. Ũyũ nĩ Danieli Njoroge, nĩwe second born, na he ũmwe ũtarĩ kuo. Tafadhali mũndeithie gwaka na Ngai nĩakũmũrathima. Yes,
Now, and thank you. Kidogo kidogo ujaza kibaba. And we are moving. Before even talk more about this, I said that I will make this platform very useful to remind you that please come out and register as a voter. The last register only had 22 million voters. Out of 22 million, only 14 million turned up to vote. 8 million did not vote. And we have more than 6 million people holding their IDs and they're not registered as voters. If we can add that register and update it to 28, then it is cleaned. As I always tell you, we need to come out and register. And I thank God, really, I really appreciate this, the mainstream media applauding this. I started this, by the way. Sometimes take your own credit. And I saw Lena Kaikai also highlighting it.
My kicker tonight is addressed to every young Kenyan above the age of 18, and particularly the Gen Z. Here is my message. Get out on Monday and get registered as voters. The IEBC has just announced that the continuous registration of voters will resume on Monday, the 29th of this month. This is a very important window for every Kenyan of age that is yet to put their names in the list of voters. To the Gen Z specifically, this is your opportunity to acquire the most powerful weapon in the whole democratic universe, a voter's card. Alongside the national identity and maybe the Kenyan passport, a voter's card constitutes the most consequential possession of any citizen. A voter's card is the one true equalizer. It has exactly the same value for each citizen, regardless their status in society. A voter's card carries the same weighty value in the hands of a poor man as it does on the laps of the wealthy. An 18-year-old and an 89-year-old are equals when it comes to the voter's card. The president and the peasant become peers when holding their respective voter's cards. So, to the Gen Z, especially they that so proudly carried Kenyan flags at the peaceful beginning of their protests on the 18th of June last year, here comes your moment. If you are 18 and above, and you are a Gen Z, don't let this moment pass. A voter's card is the most lethal peacetime weapon any civilian can possess in a democracy or even an aspiring democracy like Kenya.
So come out and register as a voter. Ladies and gentlemen, I have listened keenly to Jeremiah Kioni interview today in Spice FM because there are some factors I wanted to establish. I wanted to establish two things. Number one is, what is Kioni's way of achieving Matian'gi presidency outside the united opposition? And two, I also paying attention to how is he going to react to UDA MPs who are criticizing, or rather who are attacking his party leader, former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And while I agree with Kioni on the fact that Mount Kenya should not field a candidate, but he sounds more confusing and not really objective on his side of his argument, because he says 2027 election should only be based on track record. And he talks about track record, say, let Rigathi bring his track record when he was, an MP, let Matian'gi bring his track record, let Uhuru bring, let Ruto bring his track record, let everyone, let Martha Karua, let Kalonzo. So, as that should be the model of picking the running mate, or of the presidential candidate, he doesn't seem to, for me, to push the narrative or the fact that to push Matian'gi to be endorsed by united opposition. Something is not clear.
I think you can tell it if you look at the headlines of yesterday. The people who were very bitter with our NDC were those in government and those in DCP.
Well, for government is because your party leader also made some very, very heavy statements at the current administration. So there was response over the weekend of a number of things, including the Linda Mama.
Does that answer you that if they were friends, those heavy statements will not be coming? So, I mean, you know, you're asking me questions that, and I have, you can actually see where it is. And this is a bit. We will soldier it alone if we cannot get somebody to work with, if need be. And the party leader said as much, because you cannot keep telling me that I'm working with Ruto and you want us to work as united opposition. When you come near you again, you call us the red wheelbarrow. When we try to organize ourselves, you throw words into us. We will do this thing and we will unite with the parties that want to unite with us. By the way, in my office, I've met more than 12 political parties. And we'll do issue a statement with them.
Who are interested in working with you?
Who are interested in pushing an agenda that is not of the nature that we are seeing from others.
Okay.
So are you feeling you're being bullied are you being bullied into an agreement?
We are not the people to bully, but that is a word. There is that bullying. You know, you are not there. Then all of a sudden you are told you are not part of us. The next time you know, and even when Matian'gi was attending meetings with them, they would always light his name and put it out there like he doesn't have a party. Put Jubilee here, put Upa here. And then the biggest thing, and this is not a secret, they have sat in rooms and told them, don't join Jubilee. Don't join Jubilee.
They were telling Matian'gi that?
Openly. In fact, on one time, you can remember Gachagua telling him, go to Kisii and come with a village party, come we negotiate. And then the question is, if you really want me to come over to your table, why are you dictating the party I should come with? Who told Gachagua to open DCP so that he can come with it? It was his choice. By the way, he's not even an official of DCP. The proper officials of DCP needs to speak on behalf of that party, because he's not on any record as an official of DCP. So when you get to that level, do you think Matian'gi is a person to bully? By any chance, do you think there is any of those fellas there who can bully Matian'gi? He wasn't bullied when he was in government. And we wouldn't even be wanting to work with somebody in Jubilee who can be bullied. So that attitude is not helping at all. And I can tell you that we are focused ourselves. We know we performed. And this is the bit, by the way. Let me tell you where all this is coming from. The thing is, of all these parties, we are saying, when it comes now to deciding where you go, put your track record on the table. As an individual and as a party. Because you can only be elected on a track record. Not anymore because you come from a big community or you can lash at others better than the others. We are now saying, put your track record on the table. And I said the other day, Ruto was a minister for education, for example. Kalonzo was a minister for education. Matian'gi was a minister for education. That's his common ground. Let each one of them put his scorecard there. Gachagua can tell us what he did for the 2 weeks he was in Bunge. If there's a motion, he moved second.
Did you say 2 weeks?
Or whatever.
Okay,
I mean, we were with him in Bunge. It looks like it was just 2 weeks. Because I remember see him walking in once or twice. And that was it. Everybody, even if you have not been appointed as CS or something, wherever it is you've been working, put your track record on the table. Mother has a track record. You can talk about it in the constitution making process and the rest. Kila mtu awekele track record yake pale. So that you don't just come and join us or joining the opposition, and we end up in where we are. I haven't bothered to call DCP UDAB. But if names are put on the table, I'll pick them. I think they fit as UDAB because it's exactly UDA outfit that is the other side of the coin. But calling names is not going to help us go to where we want. But I want to say this as I conclude on this topic. If we make a mistake, and this does not mean I'm saying that people don't have their rights.
Yeah.
This is their own right. If you want to vie, you vie. But if a person vies from Mount Kenya region, that is playing into Ruto's hands direct. That's one statement that is making Gachagua very uncomfortable. And I'm not opposed to his running. But once you are able to split that block, which is what Ruto is doing every single day, he's trying to split the block, then you have given him an expressway.
That doesn't come out. I strongly believe that if you support Matian'gi to become the president of Kenya, the 6th president of Republic of Kenya, that ambition can only be achieved at the moment. It is only practical. It is only visible if it is domiciled in the United Opposition. Jeremiah Kioni is yet to hold even a single rally attended by his village mates to campaign for Matian'gi. Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to throw himself in the political ring, crisscrossing the country, campaigning for Matian'gi. Where will Matian'gi get the votes? That doesn't come out clear. And from my end, I don't see it. The second red flag from Jeremiah Kioni, and I think if someone can share this podcast with the former president, if president's handlers can listen to this podcast, this is it. Do you guys know that UDA Secretary General Hassan Omar and a host of MPs have been attacking Uhuru Kenyatta over his remarks on Linda Mama? And I was expecting Jeremiah Kioni as the Secretary General of Jubilee probably to defend his party leader. He's not defended his party leader, neither his bloggers, nor Ngunjiri Wambugu, the Nyeri Town Member of Parliament. So really, at this moment, it is right to ask, does Jeremiah Kioni harbor the interest of Matian'gi becoming the president as he's pretending? In fact, I associate with those who say that Jeremiah Kioni is working in cahoots with the President William Ruto, because it doesn't come out to me as a standpoint. In fact, may I ask, maybe Sikoba, let me just ask, Matian'gi, Jeremiah Kioni wants Matian'gi to vie through Jubilee ticket. At this moment, I would just want to hear the voice of Richard Onyonka. Richard Onyonka, who has been a staunch supporter of Matian'gi, wants to be Kisii governor. Can Richard Onyonka face Simbarati through Jubilee ticket or UPA? By the way, guys, just take a minute. You know, I don't have monopoly opinions. By the way, me, before I do analysis, I normally talk to people in this channel. We have long talk on politics of the country. So not everything I say here is my opinion. Some are also some of those we've captured from some of our members here. I know it all. Take a minute and get to the comment section and please tell us, do you think Matian'gi should vie for presidency under Jubilee ticket or under UPA? Or rather, that is the first question. The second question I also want you to answer is this. Can you maybe in your own opinion, does Matian'gi presidential bid outside when he's far away from Kalonzo, Rigathi, Eugene and the other team, does it look realistic? Does it look possible? Now, why am I saying this? Opposition split is going to disadvantage themselves. While Jeremiah Kioni hits Rigathi, state is paying DCP aspirants to bolt out of by-elections. And this is it. Furaha Chengo
Nimeketi na Martha Karua, hawezi tingishwa. Juzi nimeongea na Tebea, akaniambia mtu akisikia ameenda kwa Ruto, ile watu wako karibu na yeye wamshike wapeleke yeye Mathare. So between myself, Kalonzo, Eugene Wamalwa, Martha Karua, George na Tebea, those 5 leaders cannot betray the people of Kenya. And among us, tutatoa mtu moja wa kung'ang'ana na William Ruto. Tumekubaliana?
Babu, who is a NEC member of DCP, was vying for Magarini parliamentary seat. He's bolted out of that race, giving some flimsy accusations about insubordination there. Now, there is also this candidate, Adan Mohammed, who met President Ruto and was vying, I was a DCP candidate in Banisa. He bolted out after meeting President Ruto. And of that is a clear sign that they were both out of that race. Guys, it's raining. But I'll try this time to deliver it here. Ikishinda ndio tutarudi ndani. So where does he have the numbers? And you understand why. The reason why the DCP candidates are being bought is to make sure that they are not on ballot, because the moment they're not on ballot, Rigathi Gachagua will not get a platform to campaign in those areas. That is why those candidates are being bought. And number two, they're also strong candidates. So I think it's the interest of the President Ruto to ensure that Rigathi and DCP do not have candidates in those areas so that their popularity is not tested. I want you to imagine a situation where a DCP candidate in Magarini gets 40% or 50% of the vote, or even wins that seat. Or a situation where in Banisa, Garissa, a DCP candidate wins that seat. The state will really feel like we've lost it. And at this point, I'm just asking, William Ruto's own enemy, the only party is looking at, the only party feels is a threat is that DCP. And while you see others now raping it from the other end, and I think I said this, Rigathi is not the best for this country, but his acumen and the political traction he has done, I think has put him at a place where probably he has to be in that table. If you remove him from that table, and you remove Kalonzo from that table, where are you taking Matian'gi? And interestingly, do you understand that as that is happening, they are actually getting traction? Kalonzo Musyoka today got endorsement from Babu.
Every comrade who is in Nairobi, every comrade who is looking at us, you must register as a voter. You must register as a voter so that in the end, we have here Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Is the juice not worth the squeeze? Is the juice not worth the squeeze? You know, in 2020, people turned out from in the United States of America. When Trump was serving his first term, they didn't go to vote in Biden. They went to vote out Trump. In 2020, in 2002 in Kenya, people went to vote out Moi. They did not go to vote in Kibaki. In 2027, Kalonzo ametosha hajatosha. Kama alikuwa Azimio, Kalonzo alikuwa mzuri. Saizi kama Kalonzo ako opposition, sasa Kalonzo ni mbaya. Kalonzo amekosa nini so far? Amekosa nini so far? Ati tukisema pia Kalonzo tosha, ati Babu ni mbaya. Mbaya what? Comrades, will you accept this? Huyu Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka.
Despite of Babu Owino being an ODM member, and ODM had hinted at a possibility of fielding a presidential candidate in the next general election. And that is why I'm saying they have to be a little bit careful on this, because in real sense, politics is taking a different turn. This is what I see in this whole state script. This is what I see. I want to interpret it shortly, then I'll be out of your way. Mount Kenya supremacy battle, supremacy politics that is cropping up between Uhuru Kenyatta axis and Rigathi Gachagua is going to crumble that united opposition. You know, it's going to crumble it. Why do you think Matian'gi is saying we don't want Mount Kenya candidate there? And he's right in it. Yes, he's right. Kioni, why do you think Kioni is saying that? Kioni is hitting Rigathi because he believes that he cannot vie through Rigathi's party and is a Secretary General of Jubilee Party and wants to get candidates and probably nominate himself in the next parliament, number one, or wants to get that general election, pluck out Matian'gi, probably then push out things there, and they're being marginalized around all that, while things are not really working. You could understand, I'm saying this, opposition just need to put their house in order. Look, today, you know, I listened to Duale.
The Inua Jamii program, which has replaced the other one, which everybody knows, supported 627 155 safe deliveries, including 41,000 for teenage mothers. And Excellency, let me make it also very clear that teenage mothers, wherever they are in our country, they have a direct access to health care paid by the government of Kenya through the Social Health Authority.
Duale was responding to, you know, Uhuru said that Linda Mama mwenye alikuwa ina work, wamama alikuwa anazaa. By the way, there was NHIF and it was different from Linda Mama. So Linda Mama was scrapped. Na Uhuru akawaambia, nyinyi mlitoa Linda Mama, mkaleta hizi untested things zenye zinasumbua hata zifanyi hata wamama wanateseka. Today, I heard now Duale talking about Inua Jamii until I'm wondering. Inua Jamii is a social protection fund for wale wazee. I've never heard of Inua Jamii as a health scheme. There's a lot of confusion in Kenya Kwanza. And Kenyans can read between and see. You see, like they actually caught red-handed. Uhuru said, I had NHIF, but I introduced Linda Mama that will allow prenatal, postnatal, and maternity services to our mothers wakienda hospitali. So that was independent of the NHIF. Now Ruto scrapped it. So now, listen to what Duale says. Duale is talking about Inua Jamii. We've never heard about it. You know, Kindiki spoke about Linda Jamii. Today, Duale is talking about Inua Jamii. These two, but they've never heard of this Linda Jamii. I don't know whether Linda Jamii is SHA or Inua Jamii is SHA. I don't know which one is which. Because SHA is normally Taifa Care. The opposition must settle on their candidate this year. And I know, and by the way, I'm not right, but this is my opinion. I know most of you are saying, wakileta candidate mapema, huo candidate atapigwa na state. Let me tell you, if opposition settles on that candidate becomes the threat for the other side. Hata kama rally zake zitaanza kuwa tear gas, ni sawa. I think that will be way better so that whoever is joining that opposition will join from the point of, I am going to support so-and-so as our president. Not someone joining with the expectations of, I'm joining and I want to be president. Like now is the talk. Eugene wants to be president. Martha Karua wants to be president. Rigathi wants to be president. Kalonzo wants to be president. Matian'gi wants to be president. Now, all their supporters are all confused. Now, they leave their supporters in a state of confusion like who to support. Before the end of this year, next year, January, they should be campaigning for one presidential candidate. All supporting. So that hata wakienda event wako na mpangilio. Who is the MC? Who speaks last? That should come out. So that whoever wants to walk out, I walk out. Whoever feels I can realign with that dream. Now, the moment they settle on that candidate, the language will change. Now, that candidate will start talking policies, will start talking manifesto. Through that, something gonna work. And lastly, Jeremiah Kioni pretending to support Matian'gi to become president while not vouching for united opposition is the highest political conmanship that we can ever see in this country. And Uhuru Kenyatta must be very wary because behind the scene, Kioni has a deal with the Ruto camp. That is not there. And even Uhuru Kenyatta, You cannot support Matian'gi candidature and purport to make Matian'gi president without the other united front. Why am I saying? Even during Raila, I remember how Uhuru Kenyatta was begging Kalonzo to support Raila. You know, or does someone to say, even today, even if you get Matian'gi, Kalonzo ticket, then Rigathi supports someone else, you will divide that vote. So here is a monster that has been created, and maybe you cannot do away with it. And it's not because probably he's the best, but probably he's put his best foot forward for it. And political institutions dynamics has created what Rigathi is. Rigathi will not be that charm offensive at this point if he was not impeached. And the impeachment was staged by the state players. Kindly support our project in this place. Thank you.